Really quick, as I've been troubleshooting, I just noticed this big black region around here. It's because I added GL Clear right here, and if I get rid of this clear, then we go back here and we refresh. You get a much smaller area, and you might notice that there's like a black line around here. Well, I was wondering why my frag coordinates didn't seem to be filling the, my frag coordinates didn't seem to be, corresponding to the texture size, or at least that's what I thought was going on. And it turns out that what is probably wrong here is that the triangles I drew to fill the entire screen or the entire viewport don't actually fill the entire viewport. I thought this colored region was 640 by 480, but it's not. This black region is 640 by 480, I'm pretty sure. Judging from what I've been doing and the results I've been getting. So with that, I gotta change the triangle code. So if we go up here, I'm gonna guess I have these wrong. So the normal, oh sorry, you can't see that. So the normalized device coordinates should be going from -1 to 1. And am I being stupid? Let's see, positive and negative and center, and I have negative 0.5. I'm gonna guess these should be +1, -1, and I think that would solve the problem. So we're gonna just pop in 1.0 there, and we're gonna see what happens. So we're gonna go back here, we're gonna refresh. Interesting. So I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, so we know this quad is all screwed up. We know it's all screwy. So my center is probably not. No, the center being 0, 0 would still make sense. Oh, you know what? No, I think I got that right. I just gotta change the shader code now. So if we go back, so I was like, the shader code is just a mess right now, as I've been like trying to figure this out. But you'll notice right here, I have the 479 and 359 because I was trying to figure out like, what are these actual fragment coordinates? So now, because I fixed that quad, hopefully, I put 640 by 480 back in here like that, which is the size I was targeting for the viewport, we should get full color. So we'll change that. Go back here, we'll refresh. Finally. Okay, so I don't know if I fixed all the problems, but that was... I don't know how many... Well, it's 4:51 a.m. I mean, I haven't been working continuously this whole time. I've been fucking around a little bit on, like, Facebook and stuff. Yeah. Oh, and another thing, I mean, besides this being a disaster, another thing I tried was viewport. So I tried to set the GL viewport just in case the canvas size was so. I assumed the viewport size would snap to whatever the canvas was when you created the context, which seems to be the case, but just in case, I did this. And then more searching on Stack Overflow said that, oh yeah, the drawing buffer width and height should probably be equal to whatever the viewport is, but they might not be. But like 99% of the time, this is going to be true, so I'm like, okay, maybe I should check that. Maybe like the drawing buffer is smaller than the viewport. Maybe that's why I wasn't getting all the color fill. So I did this little check here, the drawing buffer width, the drawing buffer height, and then I just have a little check here to make sure that they are the same, and if they're not the same, I crash. But yeah, so that check didn't yield any results. Like, everything passed there, so I was like, well, that's a dead end. Yeah, so it was kind of annoying because I kept on referencing some old code of mine, and I'm like, I don't think I'm doing anything wrong with my texture setup. Oh, well, I did do something wrong with my texture setup. I screwed up a lot of things. So, so the span of the main memory, it didn't really matter because we weren't sampling from this. But right here, I did not use the correct variable name. I had SAN and then MEM, so I typed it like this. And that was incorrect, and then it put undefined values in here. And I was wondering why my array didn't have any elements in it, or because, you know, right here when you're doing the math to calculate these array sizes, if you have any undefines, then the whole thing's going to blow up on you, but JavaScript likes to silently fail a lot, so it created a uint array with, I guess, nothing in it, I think. And I didn't catch that until, you know, when I ran it in Firebug, it's like told me about the texture not being bound to 0, because, you know, my luck, I supplied 0 here. So it just happens to be that the texture unit I screwed up was 0 and not 1. Which probably made it easier to find the problem, because searching for not bound texture unit 0 is probably a much more common error message than not bound to texture slot 1. Just a guess. So I fixed that, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I fixed that, great. Now my texel lookup is gonna work because I fixed this invalid texture, and no wonder I wasn't seeing anything, because blah blah blah. Because there's no texture there to sample from. Except no, because this is the bigger chunk of memory that I'm currently not working with in the shader, and the memory I was working with in the shader was completely fine, but I'm like, that seemed like a gross offense, so, you know, maybe it would have fixed the problem. And you'll notice there's an A right here, like the A wrapping the fetch for the value, and that's just me. That's kind of like a hackish getter or setter, right? Like, let's say, right, because this is an exposed property, and man, once it's an exposed property, you can't just turn it into a getter or setter, now can you? And I don't want to do it that way anyways. So my coping mechanism for that is just this assert function that it just checks to make sure it's a positive value. So non-zero and positive, but positive kind of implies non-zero. But, you know, just making sure that we have just a smoke test to make sure that the value is valid, right? Because you could still end up with a floating point here. Well, it depends on how you write this, but here's how I wrote it. So function assert that the value is positive, and then if the value is greater than 0, you know, obviously you could also do checking to make sure that it's like an integer and not floating point, but I knew that now if anything's going wrong here, it's a bigger mistake than just being floating point. So I thought, you know, any more logic than this would just be overkill for what I was trying to achieve. And that caught the problem here. I mean, I already found the problem, but then I added these guards around here so that if it ever breaks again, it won't. It'll be caught. Like if I screw up the typing here in the future, or I like add another block of memory, and then I misspell one of these, it'll get caught because it'll be wrapped in this assert. So I'm trying to future-proof it, so I don't want the same bug to ever pop up again twice, which in bugs can pop up after you fix them, right? Because if it's a bug, it kind of signifies that there's some type of weak link in the code, so you need to like fortify it somehow. So I've found a lot of problems, but I'm gonna keep on. I'm gonna do some more work without recording, just because right now I got in here and I fucked a whole bunch of shit up, and it's ugly. And I was reading stuff about Texel Fetch not actually working in WebGL 2, or maybe it said that certain drivers don't support Texel Fetch on WebGL 2. So there's a lot of possible other problems. I noticed that the frag chords don't go from 0 to the texture size. They go from 0.5 to the texture size minus 0.5, I believe, because of the pixel centers. So I have to make sure I account for that as well when I'm fetching the values. What else? I wrote a whole bunch of code to kind of like for mapping tile, to map like the integer coordinates of the texture to the mapping like the pixel coordinates to texel coordinates, or the non-normalized integer coordinates to the normalized coordinates, trying to figure out how the formula works for that. And then I found these two formulas. This is the formula that was in like an old code base, and also the formula that I found when I was like reading some other code. And you'll notice that there's no +1 or -1 here to the width, which almost looks like it would be a mistake, but it's not. Though in fact, like, I might want to do something like this, like +0. And the +0, you'd be like, well, what the hell does +0 mean? And the idea is to make it, I mean, I guess this might look like a mistake, but the idea is to be explicit and say, no, I didn't forget that it was +1. This is not an off by 1 error situation. Just the formula dictates that you don't add 1. But I guess this +0 could also look like a mistake, because then you think, oh, they meant to say this, but they put a 0 there. So I guess you could be like, don't add 1. I guess we could be really aggressive there. I mean, and there we go. Sure, why not? But yeah, these two formulas up here, they get identical results. Well, mostly identical results. I added a little check here. Basically, if I take so here's the maximum texture size I'm going to use, of one axis of the texture, and I take 1, divide it by that to get how many like normalized values you would have throughout. And then I'm like, oh, well, there's pixel centers, so you'd have to at least divide that by 2. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe we'll have 16 degrees of freedom within a single pixel. That seems like enough to work with. So that I use that as my delta. And if the delta between Formula 1 and Formula 2 is more than that max delta, we're going to fail, and we're going to count how many times we failed. But we're not really going to count, because we're just going to crash. So I didn't get any crashes. I did get these two to a substantial amount of values were exactly the same, and then a substantial amount of values were almost identical, except for the very last digit was different by 1. So I believe the difference is only because of a rounding error. So that's what I've been doing. And yeah, it was I'm still kind of confused about, well, I guess, yeah, well, I guess I should have just called clear color before each drawing pass, and I probably wouldn't have had all this trouble. But now I know that, next time I do this, clear color. Next time I do this, I'm going to remember that, maybe, you might want to just call, wow, I have that, like, all over the place, don't I? But yeah, gl.clearcolor, let's match case. What the hell? Oh, sorry, it's gl.clear. .clear is what I'm looking for. So it was down here. So I guess maybe I should, in your main loop, you should probably call this, because it definitely helps find some problems. The area around my canvas was black, even though I did specify a different clear color, so I guess that doesn't persist between draw calls, and you have to reset what the clear color is between calls, it seems. This is good enough for me, and I'm probably I don't know if I want to comment it out or not. I don't know how much it really affects performance, so, you know, the error checking, the value that it gave me and figuring out what was wrong probably trumps whatever optimization I could get by commenting this out, so I'll probably leave that in. Okay, so I'm going to stop recording, and hopefully I didn't go over my time.